Here are 5 things you should not say to your clients. Number 1, immediately apologizing when a client is upset. When you immediately say, "I'm so sorry," what you're doing is 2 things. The first thing is, if your apology is not genuine, the client can feel it right away, and they'll assume that you're just apologizing for the sake of apologizing instead of actually trying to understand where they're coming from and what the issue is. The second thing that happens, it gives off an anxious energy where it almost feels like you're inadequate or that you're doing something wrong, when in reality that's not the case. The client can be upset for so many different reasons. The first thing to do is to assess the situation and really find out what's going on. Ask follow-up questions. For example, okay, let me get this straight. The issue that you're having is XYZ. Can you tell me more? Or can you help me understand what's going on, and can you tell me a little bit more about this issue? At the end of the day, the client doesn't necessarily need an apology unless you really did mess up. But if a client is just visibly upset and you're unsure of what the true reason is yet, then instead of jumping to an apology, genuinely better understand what's going on in their heads, what the real issue is, and from there you can offer a proper solution that will make both parties happy. The second thing you should not do is offer a discount just because a client has a price objection. As service providers, we're not selling a physical object, we're selling our time, our technique, our energy, and all the education that we invested in to provide this amazing service for our clients. So A, it's not fair for you, and B, your client is going to value your price more if you're the person to set it and be very strict with it. One tip that I will have for you is to be very upfront about your cost. So I label my pricing everywhere. It's on my website, it's on my booking page, and I even have my clients check a box that say, I understand that my cost for this procedure is this. At the end of the day, I want to be very firm with my pricing, but I also don't want my clients to feel blindsided. And to be honest, guys, the clients who find you and value your work are going to be more than willing and happy to pay your prices because you are worth it, because the services that you offer are quality. So always remind yourself of that and do not offer discounts simply because people are asking for them. If you've made it this far into the video, it's time for me to share a juicy story with you. It's about a bad experience that I had with a client. To be honest, whenever people ask me about nightmare client stories, I'm very hesitant to share them because I just don't like to dwell in the negativity of it. I think it is important to reflect on them sometimes, and from there, that's how we grow as a business, right? That's how we improve as service providers. I had a client a while ago who came in for her procedure and she loved her results. She Venmo'd me gratuity. About a month passes, she comes back for her touch-up this time and checks out, pays for her touch-up, and everything's fine. That evening, I receive a text message from her about the gratuity that she had sent via Venmo. Granted, that gratuity was not labeled in any way, like she didn't label gratuity, she just wrote thank you and then sent it. For some reason, she was telling me that she had used that to prepay for her touch-up. And basically she was telling me that I double charged her and that, you know, I better send her back her money. And she texted me that. It was in the evening. It was my day off the next day. And I was in that stage where I was setting very strict boundaries with myself on when my work days are going to be. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to deal with this when I'm back in the office, when it's my time to work again. So I didn't answer her that evening. The next day, she decides to call my phone, text me, email me, and now she reached a point where she was like,
if you don't message me, I'm going to show up to your business and don't make me go there.
Basically giving off very angry, almost like threatening vibes. And at this point, I caved. I was like, I know it's my day off. I know I'm not supposed to be dealing with business right now, but I don't like this. So I dealt with it. I messaged her back. I sent her a refund and I told her that there was a misunderstanding. I kept it professional and I haven't heard from her since. I just remember that situation made me so sad. I wasn't even as angry. I was just very sad. Granted, I'm taking it a bit more personally because from my perspective, I always feel like I'm giving my all to my clients. From this story, point number 3 that I want to make, Do not answer clients outside of business hours unless it's an emergency. It's just like when you are at a 9-to-5 job. If something happens in the middle of a Saturday afternoon, you do not need to be clocking into work right now to handle a problem. Handle it on Monday morning unless, someone's dying. And also moving forward, set those boundaries. I've learned now if I had an automated text system set up where she received a message that said, hey, I'm not available to answer right now, then maybe she wouldn't have felt so angry. That was my responsibility and I failed to have that set up. So moving forward, I'm definitely going to be incorporating more automated messages. Even if you have a negative clients, see them as a blessing because they're going to tell you where your holes are in your business so that you can continue to improve and set up the systems that'll help your business run more efficiently. All right, the next thing that you want to avoid doing is becoming an FAQ box. In other words, you are hand-holding a client every step of the way simply because you want that client. This is the fastest way to being burnt out. Whenever I get a prospect coming into my DMs asking me what the pricing is, what the procedure looks like, what exactly is microblading versus powder brows, instead of giving them an answer every time, I'll go ahead and link them to a specific page on my website. Be like, hi, thank you so much for reaching out. Here you'll find all the information you need to learn about the difference between combo brow and powder brow, and let me know if you have any follow-up questions. What this does is it totally frees up so much of your time in having to repeatedly answer the same questions over and over again for different people. Now, for a client who has very specific concerns, what I also do is I set up time slots on my appointment page where people are able to sign up for a free 15-minute call with me, and I'll conduct those calls via Zoom, and those 15-minute calls I'll be able to answer their personal questions more in depth. These are different ways that you can free up your time so that you're not constantly in your DM box. Oftentimes the DM box isn't a place for you to convert a sale anyway. Those are really just cold leads, maybe trying to find difference in pricing. So I oftentimes like to just refer them to a page that they can read up on themselves. And if a person is truly interested or want more information, then they'll either follow up with me or book a virtual consultation with me. And for the most part, those virtual consults are more likely to convert into a paying client. If you don't listen to any of the other tips today, this is the most important tip that you can possibly take away from this video. It is to not assume that every client who walks through your door has a negative intent. My biggest qualm with these Facebook groups of PMU artists giving each other advice is that a lot of the advice is they often come from a perspective that, oh, this client is just trying to cause ruckus. Understand that people are just people, that they show up with their own flaws and insecurities, and if they are treating you negatively, most likely they've had a poor experience in the past with a different service provider. Let the cycle stop with you. Really show up with a little bit of empathy. They're just here to get a service so they can feel beautiful and confident. And another thing is, if you harbor this energy against clients and you assume that everyone is negative, you're gonna have a very, very hard time running your business and making money. Like, trust me, it is not gonna be fun. On the other hand, if you come to the table with the assumption that people are generally good, they are trustworthy, and with that attitude, you're going to start to attract more of those positive clients. Remember, they showed up to your door for a reason, so try to find out why and try to find out what is it that they want you to help them with. Thank you so much for watching and good luck with your business. I hope you make a ton of money this year and that you're happy and that you enjoy what you're doing. Love you, bye!